This isn't your average podcast. But then again, David Soble isn't your typical business and finance attorney. For your consideration and appreciation, get ready to get serious. It's the Proven Resources Get Serious podcast with attorney and author David Soble.
Blog Talk Radio.
Okay, so this is Dave Soble over at Proven Resource. Thank you very much for joining me today. This afternoon we're talking about a topic that seems to have been more popular in the past couple of years called the reluctant landlord. People ask me all the time, why do you call it the reluctant landlord when you're here encouraging people to invest in real estate and give them information about how to be a successful landlord? Well, this evolved. Initially, people would come after they've sold a home or attempted to sell a home, and then with the market the way it is, they moved into a new home without selling their old home. They became a landlord. They knew that they were going to do it, but they didn't realize how much was involved in doing so. So the market has started to change. There's a lot of investors who are picking up properties, newer investors, and as well as older investors who still need a little bit more to learn about the business. And so today what we're going to do, even though it's called the reluctant landlord, we're talking about how to be a successful real estate investor and income property owner. Today I have Shel Zager with me, and this is our second installment of the reluctant landlord. Shel, thanks for joining us again.
You're entirely welcome.
Oh, great. So Shel has how many years again, Sheldon, in real estate?
35 years.
35 years as a real estate investor, and for those who know Sheldon, you know he's quite successful at what he does, and anybody who talks to him just even for 10 minutes can tell that he truly knows what he's talking about. He's been around the block. He knows the business. So the last show that we discussed really how to retain, how to advertise, how to market and qualify new tenants for your property.
That's correct.
Okay. So that went pretty well. There was a lot of great information that people responded to later on. Today what I want to do is really discuss the more painful parts of being a landlord, what people seem to have the most problems with. What is one area that you seem to have always an issue with, or your friends and colleagues have a problem with?
Usually it's painting. It's usually painting and carpet replacement.
Repairs?
Repairs. on the dwelling. Sometimes they want to paint their. I use neutral colors in all my rentals, and they want to paint. They have a teenage daughter or son. They want to paint a wild color.
Right.
I do not allow them to paint.
Okay.
Unless I receive
money or permission.
There isn't permission from me before they can do any painting in the house, because very few people can paint.
Really? Is that
I'm finding that out.
Okay. So what are you just finding out now? So so when people paint, what you're saying is later on for other property, tenants that move into this property, you got to redo all the painting, right?
That's correct.
Okay. But it's a law that it's not really a law, but it's good practice that when you lease to somebody, that you're going to make their property habitable and it's going to be presentable and you're going to take care of any ordinary wear and tear.
That's correct.
Okay. So what happens when you have somebody who moves in? I would think the biggest issue is repairs, not just paint. Paint is a big one. But their job is to pretty much, as a tenant, treat the property as if it's their own, and technically it is. They have a right to this property for the time frame that you've leased it to them. But is it damage? What kind of repairs are involved? How do you prevent against large repairs? Or
I usually do the inspection at least every 6 months. I go through the dwelling. I notify the tenant that I'm going into the house, and they usually are very cooperative and let me come into their houses. I check and see if there's any wear and tear on the carpet. Make sure that they're taking out all the trash removal. Cut the lawn if that's in their lease. And pay the water bills.
Okay, you pay the water bills. We talked about that last time, so if you're interested, you can actually, anybody interested in learning about the water bills, how do you handle that, you can listen to an archive show, which is online at provenresource.com. But getting back to, the repair and tear, one of the items that you just brought up, which is something new to me, I usually have clients, including myself, who, as landlords, they'll go into a property, but only once a year. They leave it be. You're saying that you put in your lease that you have the right to inspect the property, maintenance, every 6 months?
Sometimes they do that just to see how they're doing.
Right.
Some cities have municipalities have inspections that they have to have inspections every so often to see the quality of the house.
But that's usually when the tenant leaves the property.
Not necessarily. Sometimes cities want to inspect the properties every 2 years.
Okay.
And they're more concerned with the heat and electrical and the quality of the maintenance in the house.
Well, what I find, and correct me if I'm wrong, so let's say you have a tenant who's been in your property for a year, and the city has some type of code, they come out, they want to inspect the property. The first thing that I've experienced is that the tenant can't wait to tell the inspector everything that's wrong with the home, even if you ask the tenant to kind of, step back for a moment and let the inspector do their job. How do you overcome that, besides telling the tenant don't be around that day?
No, I don't tell them that. I usually have them at home and look at the dwelling. There's certain things I ask that before I call the tenant, tell them about the inspector. I ask them, is there anything in the house that needs to be painted or repaired or serviced? And sometimes they say they have little issues like they don't have a shower curtain, or the water's dripping.
Right.
In a bathtub. No problem. I take care of that almost immediately.
So you do something a little bit different. You're more cautious. You actually put like preventative maintenance. You call in advance of knowing that you have. I'm not saying that you're avoiding any problems, but you're really trying to correct any real issues that could come up before the city or the township inspector comes in and looks at the property.
That's correct.
Okay.
So sometimes they have fences that or garages that they store all their excess furniture from the other houses or the other rentals that they had. And I like to keep it neat and orderly.
Okay.
And the biggest problem I'm having in that area is that I have concrete that is fallen in or broken.
Okay.
Sometimes these tenants use heavier trucks to put their stuff in the garage.
Okay.
Without avoiding telling me about that. I tell the tenant that they can move stuff in the house, in the garage, only with my written permission.
Okay. So the garage, and that's really important for, again, people who are new to being a landlord, who want to get into the business, and again, even people who who've been doing it a long time but don't know this, and that is, your garage, while we all think it's storage, it shouldn't be, the Sure storage place down the street. A Sure self-storage is available to them if they want to go put their items there. But normally they don't. They throw all their crap in the garage.
That's correct.
Right. And so they have to have written permission, unless it's what? It's got to be a car, it's got to be a boat,
snowmobile, or tools.
So you specify that in your lease?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you don't say, you can't put personal items, that take up 25 boxes or something like that in the garage.
No cardboard boxes.
Okay. Within reason.
Within reason.
Okay. So, but that's like one of the duties a tenant owes to the landlord, which is using reasonable care and, not to damage the property. That would probably be under reasonable care.
That's reasonable care.
How about, one of the big issues, although it shouldn't be a big issue, and that is providing smoke alarms, a fire alarm.
Oh, that's
it's a huge issue.
That's a huge issue. That is an issue. In every house I have, whether it's smoke or not, I put smoke alarms in all the bedrooms, and in the hallway, and in the basement.
They say, fall back, spring forward with regards to putting in batteries to the smoke alarms. That would be a good time to go into a property, say that you're inspecting the property, you want to make sure that everything's up to code.
That's right.
Okay.
But usually the inspections are made in the spring or summertime, and they always write that up to make sure they're working order.
Right.
And I supply the batteries if they're not hot wired into the electrical system.
Yeah.
And I have no problems with that.
Extension cords are a big issue with people. You know, they make octopuses outside of the electrical socket. All these little things that I've seen that the code enforcer comes in.
That's correct.
And your client, or excuse me, your tenant has an octopus worth of electrical cords. So this is the thing that when you go in maybe a couple of days before and just double check everything, make sure things are pretty much the code.
Yeah, usually the code says that you should have two outlets in every bedroom, 4 in the kitchen, 2 in the bathroom, and they have to be GFI plugs.
Okay.
Which means ground fault interrupted.
Right.
So in case they accidentally drop their hairdryer or their electric shaver into the sink,
right,
it doesn't electrocute them.
Right. Which is pretty important.
Very important.
You need them to keep paying rent.
Not even to keep paying rent, just the safety of the tenants. Just to give you an illustration, I have some tenants in my house that have been there 20 and 25 years.
That's a long time.
Okay, they just like the way I'm servicing their dwelling. And I've had no problem with them. They also bring me their children and their grandchildren if I have any vacancies in other areas. I try to concentrate in certain areas where I get to know the inspectors, so I know what they want.
Hey, you mentioned that last time, and I think it's a really good. Not only are you concentrating on one area to know the inspector, but you're also getting to know the neighbors and the market and what your property should rent for.
That's correct.
And, do you do a lot of the repairs yourself, or do you have somebody do them for you? And how do you find a good contractor if that's what you're doing?
Well, I do some of the repairs myself. Like smoke detectors, batteries is no problem. I can put those in. But I have certain contractors that I use particularly for the furnace, the electrical, and the heating to make sure that
same people.
Some have been there 20, 25 years. And if there's a problem, we take care of it immediately, if not soon.
But that leads me to another quick question, and that is, do you ever make let's say, your contractor your tenant?
Not usually. Not usually.
How does that usually work out?
It doesn't work out too well because usually the tenant tries to put it in himself, and then he's not qualified to do the work, and he tries to get it by.
I would think that then they also go over and above what they were billing you, let's say, for doing the work on other properties, and then they try and take it off their rent.
That sometimes happens.
Yeah. You never should make your tenant and your contractor should never be the same people.
I had a situation just recently where the couple had got divorced, and the female wanted to stay in the house, but she didn't want her ex-husband to have the key, so she changed the lock on the house, which was against my rules, but since she had a brother that knew what he was doing, I had to install the lock. She sent me a copy of the key.
She sent you a copy of the
key.
Right. Keys are always a big issue. One of the things that I'm dealing with for one of my other clients right now is carpet cleaning. The tenant of this client has a couple dogs, and so in the lease they put that the carpet should be cleaned once a year, and the client actually gives them a coupon for the cleaning, the steam cleaning. But Stanley Steamer, let's say that's who they're using, they say every time they call to go in, they can never get in. This is a violation of the lease term, even though it's minor. I understand what the landlord is trying to do. The client's trying to maintain the quality of the property.
That's
and the
correct. So I handle it a different way.
How do you do it?
I usually give the steam cleaning company the name and phone number of the tenant that's in there, but I also call the tenant or send a notification that they're going to call. They should allow the steam cleaner into the house to clean the carpet. Usually around holiday time they need this stuff. I'm talking about Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Right. They would like it done probably.
They want it done themselves.
What about when you have to, like, you wanted your repair, you've given them the 24-hour notice, let's say, that you got to go in. Yeah, that's normal stuff. But what happens when you have a tenant who either doesn't do the repairs, doesn't let you know of a repair, and then you're trying to get the repair done? I mean, it's a violation of the lease, but also then locks you out. Have you ever had that?
I've had it happen numerous times. What I usually do in that particular case is that I go to the tenant's house in the evening, and I tell them I want to get into the house. because I have reasonable
No
hours.
Right.
Going there usually from 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night.
Uh-huh.
I want to inspect the house.
Right.
Usually they let me in.
Uh-huh.
If they're trying to hide something,
uh-huh,
or they've done something bad in the house,
uh-huh,
I give them notice to move it.
You've had to do that.
I've had to do that. So
years ago, I had a tenant who didn't like the color of their shag carpeting. This is years ago. Did I ever tell you this story?
Not at all.
So if the shag carpeting was brown, they painted it. They painted shag carpet like orange or whatever color. It was orange, actually, so you know. And the only area that they didn't paint was between the door and the wall.
I got a little set of stories.
They didn't let me in. That's why.
I have a house that has a concrete driveway, but it didn't fit in that sub.
Mm-hmm.
So the tenant wanted to go in and put blacktopping in there. They went on and got a blacktop.
They blacktop your driveway?
They blacktop the driveway
Without your permission?
Without my permission. But they wanted to blend in the neighborhood.
Really?
I was impressed by it. So when the time came up for that lease renewal, I told them they'd have to pay to remove the blacktop, which was very expensive, or leave the property. They decided that they would split the cost.
Really?
Of blacktop.
Wow, you must be a hell of a landlord, because most people I know would probably leave.
Well, they eventually left because for a different set of reasons.
You ever have any property? I mean, that's a big one. Again, repairs. Another one is like what we call habitability. Like you have to basically guarantee that the property is habitable. That's part of your warranty that you give the tenant when they move into the property.
That's correct.
And habitability also has a fine line with what they call quiet enjoyment, meaning that there should be nobody interfering with their ability to enjoy the property. Have you ever had anybody, like a neighbor, that was so riotous that would cause your tenant to leave? Did you ever have complaints about stuff like that?
I think I had one like that about 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, these are all situations that, you learn from just by anecdotes,
Well, this is a different situation.
Yeah.
The mother had passed away, and they left their 2 teenage sons in the house. They got the house, and they put the music up, all the way up to the full volume of it. They played the music well into the night. So they moved out. They gave me notice, but there's nothing I could do about it.
Sure, nothing you can do about that.
Nothing I could do about that. So I called the ordinance department, and I told them that's what's going on with the dwelling. They went ahead and they knocked on the door and sent them a letter saying that no music after 9 o'clock. It worked out well.
Good. One of the things that I see now, I don't know how you address it, but you can always tell, like in an area, let's say, Farmington Hills, or I guess any nicely well-maintained area. I know you do a lot in Westland area, Wayne area. But you can always tell. Why is it that you can always tell where the tenant lives as opposed to the regular owner?
Because the tenant doesn't maintain the house as the property owner would maintain the house. That's usually the rule, not the exception.
Right.
What I do there is I make sure I sometimes go by and I just see what's on the front porch or what's on the driveway and how the house is maintained. I call that a windshield inspection.
Windshield inspection.
And I do that, and I usually use that to go by the house. Just when I'm in the neighborhood. I just don't make a special trip in.
Right.
And it works out successfully.
But that's another reason why, again, if you're looking to, invest in property, be a landlord, you should kind of stick in a certain area so you have all your properties at your disposal.
Usually within 25 miles of my office.
What about like we were just talking about maintenance? The one that's so famous is, that the tenant clogs the toilet. The tenant does something with the toilet. Either they throw something down, they don't do something right. Sometimes it's repetitive. Sometimes you get somebody who can't get it through their head that a sanitary napkin doesn't belong in the toilet. How do you handle, do you have to pay a plumber to go out, or somebody who's,
drain cleaner?
Yeah, drain cleaner. What do you have, these people on retainer, or somebody that you're using?
I've used one guy for 35 years.
I bet you he has a million stories about plugs, right?
Stories.
Right. And so you have him on retainer then? Is that
No, I am. He's not a retainer.
But he keeps track, and then you settle up every month?
Every month. Funny story is, I know you're not going to believe this one.
I believe anything. Almost anything.
There's certain areas that, there's certain toilet papers have a better, they go down faster.
Okay. This is the golden nugget I was writing about earlier. What toilet paper goes down best in a toilet? Here we go.
I can't remember the brand.
Oh, you're kidding. You're going to leave them hanging?
There's some toilet papers that single ply that seem to work better than the ones that are double ply.
Okay. So it's not a brand, it's just a type.
It's just a type of, a certain type of toilet tissue.
And how do you negotiate that in the contract?
I don't. I just, after the first or second drain cleaning, I ask them what they're putting down. I go there personally and ask them what they're using. I ask them if they would mind using this other brand name just to try it out.
You give them a couple store coupons too?
Well, I don't give a couple store coupons. I tell them, like, as long as they're going to the supermarket to buy the toilet tissue, buy this particular brand.
Gotcha.
And it works 90% of the time.
Really? So, I mean, that is truly a golden nugget. I mean, it's really important for people to know. I mean, as reducing landlord headaches, that would be something you want to put in your list of things to talk to your tenant about.
Another thing is garbage disposals.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. Some of these tenants think we can put anything down there. And I know you're not going to believe this one, but eggshells should not go into the garbage disposal.
Right.
Because they get clogged in there. And big bones. Right.
Turkey bones?
Turkey bones and stuff like that. Not the soft ones, but the big bones, the meat bones.
So do you have like these restrictions on your lease?
I tell them.
You just give them a little instruction sheet.
I give them an instruction sheet, but I also make them sign that they acknowledge it. I'll pay for the first repair. After that, it's all on them.
Right, and that makes them more cognizant, more aware of what they should and shouldn't be doing. That's like it's part of the lease. If you haven't signed it, it's kind of, if you reference it, then you're saying these are the things that you need to be aware of. The first time is gratis, but the second time's on you.
Yeah, but usually what happens, once they tenant, usually I get recommendations from previous tenants. If you want to rent some shelves later, rent from him, you got to abide by his rules.
Right.
And I'm fair, really fair with the tenants.
We've made it your livelihood.
I made my livelihood all these years.
And that's part of being for a long-term business. You got to be fair. You have to have some thick skin, right? And you got to really understand how certain mechanicals work in a house.
I would say so.
Right, because ultimately what happens is if you have a lot of homes and you're doing a lot of business like yourself, it becomes expensive sending somebody else all the time. It eats into your profit.
That's right. I will say this to you. When I went to high school, I did an electrical program at Cass Technical High School. I had an uncle that was in the electrical business, and he taught me how to repair electrical switches and plugs. That's the only thing I do in maintenance myself.
Right. Well, that has some, switches and plugs. That's pretty scary. But it's like, I guess it would be like owning a car. If somebody's never changed a tire, you're driving a car, you're new to the car, you should learn how to change a tire, know how to jump a car, battery, etc. It's kind of like if you're going to go and purchase a property and you want to be a landlord and you don't want contractor fees to eat into your hard-earned profit, and it will quickly, you might want to take a course on basic home maintenance. Wouldn't that make sense?
That would make sense. I mean, perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of guys who there's always somebody in these deals that is a contractor or a GC somewhere. But,
that's right.
I mean, that's only helpful. But there are people who aren't any of those things. They learn quick.
They learn very quick.
They learn very fast.
The biggest problem I'm having now is when the weather gets cooler, is that they open their storm window and they didn't put it on, and usually you have corner cracks.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to replace those.
Right. That's
windows.
expensive.
Well, I usually tell the tenant one window I will do.
Right.
The rest is on
them. Again, to make them more cognizant.
More cognizant of that. The reason why I have so many tenants that are satisfied.
You do all the work.
No, I don't do all the work. My rents are usually $100 to $150 less than what the market is.
Okay, that's our last series. That's the profit series. We've talked about finding and retaining a tenant, which obviously rent would do, a good rent. We've talked about repair and maintenance of your home and dealing with, officials that come out and inspect the property for its condition. We talked about some of the ways that you assign the risk over to the tenant, so they're responsible for the repairs or stupid things that they may do to the garbage disposal or the toilet or anything else. But the third part of the series, which is the last part, which you gave me a great outline when we first talked about this, would be about how to maintain your profit, how to keep as much money in your pocket,
right,
and not going into the home. Still making the home habitable. So you're going to join us again in 2 weeks.
I'll be happy.
Okay. I really appreciate it. Shel Zager, thank you so much for joining us. You're a wealth of information when it comes to being a successful landlord. And, if you stick around, I don't know if I can ply you with fruit juice for the next 4 hours. we have our Michigan Sanity, Landlord Sanity group at 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
And that's for, again, people who want to get into real estate investment, people who actually own income property, and then, of course, our seasoned veterans who might be able to learn something new again.
Sure.
So thanks for joining us. Thank you very much, and we're going to head out now. My name is Dave Soble. I'm with Proven Resource. We basically work with people who have real estate issues, both commercial and residential. We deal with landlords. We deal with tenants. We deal with debt issues, loan issues, and it's our job to basically lift the burden off our clients' shoulders and make things right and get them relief. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can call me at 888-789-1715, or you can go to our website, provenresource.com, or our blog.provenresource.com. And lastly, you can see us on Facebook at facebook.provenresource.com. And thanks for joining us again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.